that the topic for today is how an autoimmune disease of a friend or family member affects their loved ones. It could also be a chronic illness, obviously. But last time we focused a lot on me, and mostly the focus is on the patient. But I've been getting responses from people that they would also like to discuss how the loved ones are affected by the disease as well. So my question for you is obviously, so what's different for you now after you've heard what my diagnosis was? You know, you heard I was diagnosed with lupus. How were you affected by it?
Right. I mean, I think there's a little bit of an initial shock phase where you're like, wow, what is this going to mean for you? I think there's some worry that sets in always, like, how is this going to affect you with, you know, raising your kid? Then there's maybe a little bit sense of relief, I guess, that you at least know what it is. Because I think specifically with you, there was like a period where it was just like so unsure about what was going on, and you had symptoms, but you're like, I don't know what's going on. So I think, you know, same thing, I don't know for you, but for me, it was at least we know what's going on now and, you know, kind of find a way to, you know, implement it and move on from it, I guess, like, or implement in your life. Yeah, those were all kind of things that I initially thought about when I heard about the diagnosis. And then what is that going to mean for you? What's that going to mean for us? What can you still do? So I think those were, you know, a lot of emotions, but at the same time, some relief that at least we knew what was going on.
Right. That definitely gives a great sense of relief when you have the diagnosis. And then, of course, the next step is fear. Like, so what now? Am I going to die?
Exactly.
Like you said, what does it mean for our relationship going further? And I do feel that since you're my friend and we don't live together in one house, you're probably not as much affected by it as, for example, if it's your spouse or your
yeah, I can imagine that. Like, yes, if you live with someone, I think it has probably a bigger impact, and you see more. And I know that you know, we're going to be spending some quality time together soon.
I know.
And we usually cohabitate for a while.
We do.
Put it that way. So you know, and we're very close. So I think that in those moments, there's probably going to be times where, you know, you might feel very, very vulnerable, that I'm witnessing, you know, if you have flare-ups or if you have just like, hey, I'm just done for the day, I'm good. And when you live with someone, that person gets to experience it. But when you're friends, or even with friends, with family, anyone that doesn't live with you, you have control over what you share. You have control over what people see. So the fact that I think that, you know, I'm going to be around you and I'm going to be present, it's kind of like an opportunity for me to find out how can I be supportive when I'm actually with you versus being of support via phone, and like we check in with each other and everything. I think it's a different level of support when you're actually physically with someone and you can physically help them. Like, let me take your daughter off your hands for a few hours, or, you know, like, there's physical help you can give that I cannot do right now. So I think there's some helplessness, maybe even like or not help, that's the wrong word, but just not feeling I can do enough because we're on a distance. So there's also pros to being and living together for a while, because then actually I think I would feel more useful. I'm like, hey, I can actually relieve you of some things. I can actually be of more support. Yeah.
I get that. So what I'm hearing is, of course, the way you were affected at first was after the diagnosis, there was fear, not knowing. Well, of course, relief first, because you now know what it is, and they're not gonna die anytime soon. And then what I'm hearing is, I know, right?
No. That's not even put that in the universe. No.
I'm not putting it out there. It's good. I'm good.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, to be honest, everyone's gonna die at some point. That's that's the reality of it. But
but not soon. Not soon, and it's under control. So it's and I'm also hearing that you were also wondering how our relationship would now go on, would now continue, knowing that I had the diagnosis. And you're right. If I'm with you and if we're living together in a space, I would probably need more help than before.
Right.
Absolutely. And we've spoken about that before in the previous Insta Live, that I would need to learn to speak up more and tell what's going on. Oh, I'm looking at Sue. She's saying, but it is fear in the beginning. It's absolutely fear in the beginning. True. Yeah. Fear.
I think it might be fear from your side and maybe like unknown from my side about what can I do. Exactly. And I think, again, like it's a different level of effect probably on a close friend versus a family member.
Yes, absolutely.
But nevertheless, I think, you know, friends can be of huge support as well. Yeah. And you know, go both ways to finding a way to like, okay, what's going to be, it's like, it's defining the new normal, like, you know, moving into a different direction. Like, okay, what's going to be our new way of doing things together and our new way of being, basically. Yeah. Right.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. And I know we'll figure it out. We are figuring out. I do think there should be. I do think there should be more space available for loved ones to share what they're going through. Sometimes if the right person might not be your spouse who has the condition. Sometimes you would like to talk to other people who have a spouse or a brother or a friend with that disease. You know what I mean? Because that might be more of a space where you can feel you can just let it all out without hurting the person. And that's something that I'm contemplating too. Because I've been asked, like, can you create a group for loved ones who are taking care of someone who has?
I think it's a really good point, because you don't really want to necessarily put any more burden on you, because you know you have other things that you want to focus on. It's you know, it's a daily focus to be healthy and be aware of, you know, the flare-ups and anything like that. But yes, I definitely think that there's a opportunity there for people to know, you know, there's other people there that are in a similar situation. And I think you've seen that Lisa's seeing something similar as well.
Yes, Lisa's saying friends and family need support as much, if not more, than the person with the condition. That's a good one. He's saying if not more. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know.
I feel like I feel a little bit burdened to say more, but that's more because I feel like, you know, the focus should be on you.
Yeah. But it depends on the situation. If you're dealing with a spouse, for example, who really needs a lot of physical support, that can be very heavy, you know?
It is.
As much as you love them.
And also the reality that, like, you know, maybe over time, you know, a condition can worsen, and then how that is going to be more and more of an effect on the spouse then as well. If there's kids involved, you know, they're going to be seeing certain things, how to have conversations with them. How are they going to be affected? How can they feel like they can openly speak about things? So, there's probably like a whole different arena there, maybe to be explored in here.
Right. Yeah. And I do want to mention beforehand, because I'm visiting Letty pretty soon. I used to be the person who would help out in the household a lot. You know how I pick up
She'll
where
be
you
like,
leave
what's
up.
for dinner? I'm like, she's like, I'm cooking dinner. I'll be like, okay,
I'll
great.
clean up, I'll do all that stuff, but I'm not able to do that anymore.
I know.
Like the way I did. I'll try my best, but you'll see if I do it too often, I'm gonna be in my bed for like 3 days.
But that's also, I think, us, like I said, us when we're like that together, when we're actually living together for a while. For me, it's kind of like resetting how we're gonna do things, and kind of gauging where you're at with your energy level at that time. You know, because I think at some point you can kind of tell, and then just knowing, you know, how to approach it, basically. Right.
Well, that being said, I know you got to run, and I have to continue something else that I'm working on right now, which is actually my daughter. It's another thing. It's a very important project of my life.
Very, very important project. Yes. We have to talk about that sometime too. Like, you know, being a parent, and you know, and you you know, both of us being single moms, but then also on top of that, you know, you dealing with the autoimmune disease.
I'm looking at Sue. She's saying then there's the guilt for the sick and the caretakers. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, we've spoken about guilt, Sue, in one of the first Insta Lives. So feel free to check out the replay in my bio, Sue. We've spoken about that. I'm noticing that. Thank you, ladies.
Thank